in the midst of what some are calling the Corona apocalypse. You've heard that term or not, but it's crazy. It's an interesting time to be alive, but it's always a great time to be Black, because Black people, we're just the ultimate survivors anyway. And so to talk about some of the chaos going on with this coronavirus and how people are reacting and responding to it, I brought in someone that I just respect so much. Her name is Miss Faye Bishop.
Yes.
And Faye, I'd like to ask you, sister, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. It's nice outside. The air is fresh. I don't know if anybody is familiar with what happened during 1918 with the tuberculosis outbreak, but fresh air and sunshine actually does the body good. So.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know
a lot of the patients back then who were treated outdoors versus indoors actually recovered faster. So
really. Well, you know, I knew about the what was it, the Spanish flu around that time. I didn't know anything about tuberculosis though.
Yeah, the tuberculosis outbreak. They said a lot of times people forget that fresh air and sunlight actually cured a lot of those people faster, along with the treatment, of course, by doctors. But the patients that were being treated outdoors recovered faster than those who were treated indoors. And I often talk about that in general myself. I think we really don't give credit to what fresh air and sunlight can do. That's why with this social distancing, it's just something that I think everybody should keep in mind.
Interesting. Okay, so let me ask you guys who are watching. First of all, shout out your city. Let us know what city you're coming from. But I'd like to ask you this. Do you think that people are overreacting? Give me a yes or no. Do you think people are overreacting to the CoronaScare? Do you think that, this is about right? Do you think that we're underreacting? Maybe we're not taking it seriously enough. Let us know what you think. I can tell you, and I would personally say that it seems like it's across the board, Faye. I mean, I've been looking around and I see some people that laugh it off like it's no big deal, like they can't get sick, or you hear people. Or I'm just gonna tell you like this right now. I'm B1. I'm blackity black all the time. Every day of the week and twice on Sundays. But when people come up and they tell me, well, Black people can't get the coronavirus, I'm like, okay, I'm open-minded to the idea that Black people that we're unique and special, but I'm not gonna run around here pretending like we can't get sick, we can't get the virus. Well, what do you think, Faye? Do you think people are kind of, on average, overreacting, underreacting, or what do you think?
I think it's a mix of both. For one, I too heard the rumor Black people can't get it. I still have yet to come across a person who can point me in the direction of where they actually got that from. Like, Black people can't get it. Okay, based on what? Based on what studies that have been conducted? Based on what? Or is this like, one of those internet rumors that we're all just kind of passing around? I do believe that everybody should take what the CDC is saying important, all of us, no matter what demographic you're in, no matter how young or old you are. But I also feel at the same time, the media is being unbelievably irresponsible in their reporting, which is done nothing but stir up a lot of panic and confusion. And that's where the overreacting is coming from. And I'm saying that because we're still not really being provided with enough information, which is really not giving us enough real perspective. The news is showing us a lot of graphs, but not many of them contain actual numbers. We're just seeing models, and a model is only as good as the assumptions you put into it, which are often predictions that are based on worst case scenario versus what is actually happening. So what's happening is a lot of people that are doing the overreacting because of what the media is saying, they're running out buying toilet paper, they're running out buying hand sanitizers. This is all because the media and the internet is telling them to. Mind you, the same media and internet told us to buy chicken sandwiches 6 months ago. Remember that? So exactly what are we reacting to? Based on what? Based on what information? Is it the information given to us by the CDC, or is it the information that's being given to us by the media? Because if you go over to the CDC website, as well as WHO, it says nothing about toilet paper. It talks about washing your hands. making sure your bed linen is, you know, fresh and things like that. But it says nothing about toilet paper. It says nothing about, you know, buying so much of it is going to pretty much contain you from contracting the virus. So again, there's just two, it's like we're overreacting, but we're underreacting at the same time. And a lot of that is due to misinformation that's being given out due to irresponsible reporting with the media. This same media told us 2 days ago that the president of Brazil, who was in a video, I believe, next to President Donald Trump, actually tested positive for the virus. Well, it turns out he tested negative, but the media took that and they ran with it. And I promise you guys, this is true. You can look it up. The diagnostics, I believe it was the Armed Forces Hospital that tested the guy, excuse me, ended up having to release a statement because the media actually got the information about him being tested positive from his son or something like that. Now his son is saying he never said it.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we took that information and we ran with it. And it's based on a video where Donald Trump is standing next to the guy as well as a few other world leaders from a meeting that they had a few days ago. So we took the fact that the media took that video, right, and said the president of Brazil just tested positive for this virus. And Donald Trump's next to him. So that means Donald Trump has been exposed to it. So now Donald Trump has to get tested. Oh, he's stupid. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. We just basically took that, which did nothing but add to the panic and confusion that's already going on. Donald Trump has since been tested. According to what's being reported, he tested negative. But the fact that the media irresponsibly reported that the president of Brazil tested positive for the virus when he actually tested negative, once again, goes back into that irresponsible reporting, which does nothing but stir the pot. It causes panic and it causes confusion.
Wow. Well, everybody, we're talking about the corona craziness and the corona apocalypse that's happening, and whether or not people are overreacting, and why there are Black people who think they can't catch the virus, and just all these other rumors that are kind of out there and stuff like that. And I'm speaking with Miss Faye Bishop. And if you could, please take 1 second and hit the thumbs up button. Everybody right now, please hit that thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe and share. And just so you know, I don't know if I told you about this, Faye, but we're actually going to host what I call a digital slumber party. And this is the kid in me coming out. I want everybody to know, like, I'm a part-time kid. I'm a part-time scholar and a part-time kid. And you remember how exciting it was when you were little and you knew you didn't have to go to school the next day, and you would stay up all night and like watch the movies that you weren't supposed to be watching or whatever, right? Well, you know, I thought about that, right? I said, you know, Monday and Tuesday, a lot of people get to stay home from work. And I told Alicia, I said, I think it would be fun to have like a digital slumber party, right?
I think that's dope.
We all just get together at midnight, right? It's going to be Monday night at midnight. And we just get together online. And what I'll do is I actually put together some, just so we can all learn a little bit, right? I put together a little thing on, you know, how to work from home and be productive, like how to get used to that. Because actually I've lived a pretty isolated existence for a long time, like in terms of really being able to find my center. And there's a lot of benefit actually to kind of detaching, you know, like in every single way, but also working from home comes with a lot of complications. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about that, maybe play some music, maybe just have some fun, just talk, hang out as Black people, and kind of quarantine ourselves from all the ignorance and the coonery and the racism and everything else. So if you want to come out, guys, if you want to be a part of that, it's going to be Monday night at midnight, which would technically be Tuesday morning. So it's Monday night at midnight. That's when we go live. And the URL, we got a URL for it. It's digitalslumberparty.com. So if you go to digitalslumberparty.com, you can actually register for that. And I'll keep you guys posted on how that goes. It's an experiment. I have no idea. I was like, man, people are gonna think I'm corny and stupid. But whatever. The cat is out of the bag. I mean, if you ain't figured that out by now, then you ain't been watching. So Faye, let me ask you this. Okay, so I was in the grocery store yesterday. And we went to we came back from Atlanta. We did our event in Atlanta, and Alicia and I flew back, and we said, okay, let's go ahead and go to the grocery store. We had the kids, and we didn't know what to expect. You know, we'd seen all the reports about grocery store shelves being empty, complete chaos. people, you know, stabbing each other, you know, for some extra toilet paper, you know, and we didn't know what it was going to be like. So let me tell you what happened. So we go to the grocery store. So we're like, oh my God, we got to go, you know, get our stuff. Let's go to the store now. Make sure we're all stacked up, blah, 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 blah. And we get there, and here's what happened. The store was not crowded. There was plenty of food. You know, there was no killing over toilet paper or hand sanitizer. It was a regular day at the grocery store. And I really thought, okay, I wonder if it's because of you know, of our particular neighborhood. Maybe it's the time that we went to the store. You know, and I'm sure that the stories are real, right? I saw a video. I'll show you guys this video in a minute of actually some people actually literally fighting over toilet paper. So it is happening. But has that been your experience, you know, as you kind of, you know, been out and about? Like, what have you been seeing, Faye?
You know, it's funny. I posted a video to my Insta stories last night because I live in the city. And, you know, over here in Philly, we have a ton of bodegas. We have the mass chain stores like your Walmarts, your Target, your Home Depot, and all those stores. But we're filled with bodegas. It's like a bodega on every other corner. I went into 2 of them yesterday because I had to grab some batteries real quick for a reason. I think it was for remote control. And something said, take a walk to the back of the store real quick and just see something. Nothing but toilet paper and paper towels on the shelves. It wasn't. I don't know if they had refilled it or what happened. Well, that store didn't have the brand of batteries that I liked. They had some sort of cheap brand. So I went a few blocks down to another store. I said, let me walk back here first. And mind you, they had the batteries that I needed. I never buy anything other than Duracell. If you don't have Duracell, I can't use you, but that's a different story. But I went to the back of that store, same thing, toilet paper, lots of supplies, lots of paper cups, lots of paper towels, lots of cleaning supplies and other basic necessities. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on? You know, what's going on? What's really going on? And that's why I said, is this some sort of like the panic? Is it a strategy for the most part to push like fake news, you know, some sort of to kind of gear us through this whole economic restructuring that they have planned? Or are people really killing each other over toilet paper in every store? You know, that's what I'm wondering about, because I'm not seeing what everyone else is seeing. And I live in the city. So I don't know if it has to do with where I live, geographical location, I don't know. But that was my experience yesterday, which kind of leads me into, you know, what's going to happen economically, because I feel like the virus is going to bankrupt more people than it kills. That's my opinion. It's greater than the health risk to the public. Last week we had trillions of dollars that were wiped out from the financial markets. And this week, over the last couple of days, we saw kind of like an upswing a little bit due to Donald Trump's bipartisan bill that was passed. But he had to step in order to halt that. But if you look at everything, who gets hurt most when an event gets canceled? Who has the most pain when a restaurant is empty? Who's incapable of adding large sums to their portfolio on a 25% drawdown? You know, who suffers most when the kids can't attend school? You know, so I look at stuff like that and I'm like, I feel like the financial blowback is going to hurt and kill people more than the actual virus itself.
Well, we know that the biggest virus that has infected the most people is the virus called fear, right? We know that fear has been, everybody's infected with that. Whatever number of people are infected with corona, it's only a tiny fraction of the percentage of people that have been infected with the fear virus. And I don't know which one's worse. I would almost say the fear is worse because I think that we take things, we look at all the things that could go wrong and we assume that they have gone wrong and we start reacting as if they've gone wrong and we start shutting shit down and breaking shit to pieces and going bananas and losing our damn minds and hurting each other and hurting ourselves and all this other stuff. And it has a real cost. It has a real cost. There's a big cost when you take an economy that's going 100 miles an hour like ours and you just shut it down. Like when you just
Right.
shut that economy down and just say, okay, nobody's going to work, nobody's going to school, nobody's going shopping, nobody's going to travel, nobody's going to do anything. Like when you do something that drastic, it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna hurt not just for a while. It's gonna hurt for a very long time. So that's the part that does get my attention is this whole just shutdown. I mean, I was gonna go give a speech in Maryland, shut down. We had a trip to LA we were gonna do as a family, shut down. If you go look and you're looking for plane tickets and stuff like that, you'll find ticket prices are insanely low. Somebody told me, oh, I got a ticket from North Carolina to Philly for $20 or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So you're finding these things happening where I'm kind of looking at this and I'm like, okay, how's this going to work? Like, how's this really going? On one hand, I see some positives, right? I see government stimulus packages out the ass, and all the world banks, all the banks around the world, every country's central bank is pumping money into the economy. That's a good thing, right? That's a really
Right.
So in a way, it's almost like me giving you a ton of vitamins and steroids, but at the same time draining all the blood and water out of your body at the same damn time, right? So I'm draining you on one hand, but I'm pumping you up in the other. How's that going to play out?
Right. And that's the part that a lot of people, particularly people who still don't know what's going on, have no real perspective, have no real information about this virus. What are they going to do? Because again, that financial blowback that's on the back end. I know that China's numbers in terms of they're reporting, according to Meet the Press, I was just watching a few moments ago, they're examining whether or not the numbers that were initially reported were flawed and incomplete. And I believe the real test, both economically and health-wise, will be whether or not the virus actually flares up again once everybody returns to work, the children return to the classrooms, the workers return to the factories, and the commuters start to take the buses and the subways as normal again. The blunt force strategy just poses deeper questions, not only for us here, but for other countries as well. I know Italy has gotten hit really, really hard. However, watching BBC News, which I always encourage people, always try to look at media from other countries too. Their reporting isn't as panicky as ours. They're just kind of warning everybody, wash your hands, sanitize your home, and business as usual. So it's like, is it a campaign? It's all a campaign that has come at a great cost to people's livelihoods and personal liberties. And I feel like on the back end, which is pretty much in another, what is it? I think everything's shut down for about 2 to 4 weeks. What happens after that is when we're going to see whether or not the cure, the vaccines that they're going to push, and all of this is worse than the actual virus itself.
Yeah. Everybody, in case you just came in, I'm speaking with Miss Faye Bishop, and Faye and I are talking about this corona craziness and the corona apocalypse and all the stuff that's been kind of going on. I mean, I feel like in 10 years I feel like our future selves are watching us through a video camera, through video, and laughing at us. Like I really fear that. Like I wonder like how my future self is gonna view all of this. Like if I could talk to myself 5 years from now, I'd love to ask, like, how's this gonna play out? Are we just looking stupid right now, or is this the beginning of some shit that we need to be real serious about? And you just don't know, right? And so
Yes.
So everybody who's watching, please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. And also everybody on Instagram, my Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's The Real Boyce Watkins. And Faye, what's your Instagram, Faye?
It is at Faye Bishop.
Okay, Faye
at Faye Bishop. I am also Mrs. Faye Bishop on Twitter. MS Faye Bishop on Twitter. And same thing, I'm Faye Bishop everywhere.
Right. Yeah,
and the Faye Bishop Report over on YouTube.
And that's FAYE. There's an E in Faye. So everybody make sure you spell it right. And follow Faye. Everybody follow Faye. Hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button. Also, for those of you on Instagram, I'm about to show a video. So if you want to see the video, you'd have to go to yourblackworldtv.com to see the video, because I'm going to show this video because I want to get your take on this, Faye. This is a video that I saw of some people that were, fighting over some toilet paper. And I'm really fascinated with this whole like toilet paper thing. Like I just never understood. Yeah. Let's talk about that and say, let me show you this video first, and then I'm gonna let you take the floor because I want to hear your thoughts on this. Okay, so here we go. Here's the video. All right. I love it when white people make fools of themselves. Okay, so here we go.
Hey, stop! That's enough! Are you fucking joking? That's my daughter! I didn't swear that! She hit me! I didn't touch you! I took the bag! You came and hit me! I took the bag! You fucking came and hit me! Excuse me? Stop! Go away from my daughter! Stop! Please! I just want one bag! No, not one bag! What's the limit? It's 5 minutes. Guys, I need everyone to back off right now. Stop. No. Yes. Hold on. Get away from there. Stop. You need to get off this trolley now. Look what you're doing. Think about what you're doing, yeah?
Adrian.
Right, there's a limit in this big boy, yeah? It's unfair. You need to stop.
Call the police.
I'm calling the police.
Okay, so there's not much else to see there. You just see these people fighting over the toilet paper, and so I gotta ask you, Faye, and they were I don't know if they're like 100% American white, but everybody who ain't us, they white. So I'm being silly.
I heard the video was those people are actually from Australia. So
okay, they're white. Okay, there we go. All right, so let me ask you this, Faye. I'm really curious. Have you figured out why we have this obsession with toilet paper? They wasn't fighting over food. It wasn't over medicine, right? They weren't fighting over water. It wasn't even hand sanitizer. It was toilet paper. Toilet paper, last time I checked, you mostly use it to wipe your ass. Why are people obsessed with wiping their ass during the coronavirus outbreak?
I don't know. And if the world is ending and the sky is falling, why would toilet paper, above all else, be the go-to to the point where you're actually risking your life or possibly going to jail for it? Again, the overreaction, and I know that this is the media doing this very same media, and I want everybody to keep this in mind, 6 months ago had all of us going just as wild over chicken sandwiches. So why are we taking toilet paper more serious rather than the health of our bodies, which is the most important part when it comes to this virus? Toilet paper offers no special protection against a damn virus. It doesn't. This is a disease that has infected more than 115,000 people. Toilet paper is not going to shield you. And you know what? I actually talked about this with a friend yesterday. This toilet paper craze reminds me of, I don't know how old everybody is or how much research you've done on this issue, but in 1938, there was an actor, his name was Orson Welles. He got on a radio station and announced that aliens were invading Earth, right? Yeah. So I think it was the state of Maryland, New Jersey, New York. I know it was about 7 or 8 states. Everybody went out and bought towels. They bought extra towels to put over their faces to protect themselves from alien invader gas. Mind you, the whole thing was a damn act, but that's how everybody reacted to that. And it's kind of like, no one really said anything, but it was all an act. And that's what people did. That's how they responded. Aliens are invading the country, but you're going to go buy a towel instead of a firearm or something like that. It's just weird how we react to these kinds of things. It doesn't offer any protection.
Wow, I guess it shows that like stupid people run the world, apparently.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's deep. I
The
was
real thing that everybody should do, look into KMP stocks. That's where Scott Tissue, you know, buy stock. Why are you buying toilet paper? You know, why are you buying hand sanitizer? Look into KMP.
Well, I think it's a good point. I mean, you mentioned the financial angle of this. The stock market's taking a crazy hit, and it slammed a lot of people's portfolios. I mean, if you're a long-term investor, you saw some value go down. But what people should also remember is that a lot of money gets made during times like this. Like, like Faye, you're talking about the toilet paper, where there are a lot of industries, like industries that are in cloud computing, are actually going to make a lot of money because a lot of people are going to be working from home. So that's going to allow them to basically transition in terms of where the flow of money is going, right? So they can actually position themselves to benefit from this. Like believe me, there's always somebody making money when there's chaos, when there's panic like this. And actually, anybody who's interested in that, feel free to go in the Black Stock Market program. I put a section called "What Dr. Boyce is Buying," and basically, as I've been doing my research and picking all the stocks that I'm adding to my portfolio, I have a section in there, so you guys can feel free to go take a look. So actually, the URL is theblackstockmarketprogram.com. You can actually try it out for 30 days for just $1. So feel free to go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com if you'd like to see. So just go to the very bottom of the curriculum section, and that's where all that stuff is. And so, Faye, one thing I want to mention too, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this, is okay, so we've all seen the conspiracy theories, behind where this virus is coming from. Did it come from a lab? Well, possibly. But it also could have just came from a bat, and in those Chinese wet markets, like that. That was another story I saw, right? That there was a bat where the virus transferred from a bat to some other animals, like some sort of reptile, and then it went to humans. That's what they claimed. And so the way they claimed that they found the epicenter in Wuhan was they had to find a wet market where those two animals would even be in proximity of each other. And what they found was that in China, and those of you who've been to China know this or know the history of China, but the Chinese have a much wider diet than Americans do. Like they be eating shit that you didn't know was edible. Like, so you go to the wet market. Yeah, you go to this wet market, you can go buy you some bat, you can buy you some turtle, some dog, like, whatever animal, rat meat, they have rat meat farmers in China. And so, basically they were claiming that the virus came from these animals being stacked on top of each other with, bodily fluids dropping on top of each other. I'm not going to be too nasty, but basically that's what they were saying. But then there's, just that other theory that just says somebody went in the lab and created this shit so they can go kill a bunch of people. I believe all that's possible, right? Now, one of the things that I thought was really interesting, I'd like to get your thought on this, is, I did think it was kind of fascinating that this whole outbreak of the coronavirus, it started in China, and it was right when Trump and the Chinese were going at each other in a trade war. And one of the effects of the coronavirus is that it has crippled the Chinese economy and undermined China's position as a world leader in manufacturing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one thing that I can agree with is the fact that this did take place almost instantly after that happened. And China has been ground zero for this thing. It's not coronavirus. They're calling it COVID or COVID-19, which is somewhat a more crazy strand of it. I do know that almost instantly what happened also is that China, also known as the Communist Party, cracked down on the coverage, and the journalists had to fight back. That's why I said now, according to what I watched today on Meet the Press, they're looking into whether or not the numbers that were initially reported there were flawed, because they had shut the whole country down almost instantly after this occurred. And they're publishing these hard-hitting exposés describing government cover-ups and failures in the healthcare system over there, which they too are also circulating, but at the same time trying to cover up. So I think this all goes back to whether or not the threat itself is disproportionate to the fear that's being caused. I don't know what's going on in terms of China's economy, but I do know that trade, Trump was right to shut down the travel ban and to shut down trading between China and the US. I just think this is all really, really crazy, and it's going to have some serious economic setbacks for everybody, including China, who has recently said that there have been no new cases reported of the virus all of a sudden, even though it started there.
Right.
Even though it started there, there's been no new cases reported in the last 4 days. And why are they trying to cover up so much with their press over there? I always encourage people, again, you know, we know our CNNs, our MSNBCs, and all of those mainstream media outlets, but always try to look at press from other countries, you know, research it, because they do exist. You don't just have to look at, you know, the people here in our mainstream media as the gospel. Look overseas too. Check on BBC America. Japan has their own media outlets, as well as Australia and others. Always look into it, because there's some cover up going on right now.
Yeah,
Serious cover up that's not even being reported here.
Well, you know, and I think it's important for people to know that propaganda is extra real. Like, propaganda is really real. You know, I'll give you an example. When I was in, I did a research thing in Germany, where I was in Germany for 6 months years ago. It was over a decade ago, and so I'm in Germany, right? And I'm watching German TV, and they got CNN in Europe, so I'm watching CNN a lot, and because it was one of the few channels that wasn't in German, and the whole summer, I'm getting daily updates on a war between the Palestinians and the Israelis, where the Israelis were going in and blowing up hospitals and daycares and killing, you know, children and old women. I mean, just crazy stuff they were doing to the Palestinians. I mean, it was like some old Holocaust level type shit. And I'm sitting and I'm thinking this is the biggest story in the world, because I'm seeing it every single day for weeks in a row. I get back to the United States, and I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, what do you think about that war, that what the Israelis were doing to the Palestinians? And none of my friends even had a clue that a war, that this even took place, that they were doing any of this. And that's when I became really alert to the fact that even with an outlet like a CNN, the stories they tell you in the United States are very different from the stories that are being told in other countries. You know, or like, so for example, you might have a situation where there's a big story where Forbes magazine, also, you know, these other outlets will have a different cover for every other part of the world, but then you come to the United States and it'll be like Kim Kardashian on the cover or something. But the rest of the world is getting some sort of very serious, you know, sort of story that everyone should know about. And then also in terms of propaganda, and it goes all ways, right? We know Trump's a liar, right? That's kind of proven. That I think that's, you know, I just think that's a foregone conclusion. The guy, you know, he's a liar and he's a narcissist. I'm not going to vote for anybody. I told you guys that. I'm not telling you what to do. But I don't, you know, if you want to know if I like Donald Trump, I don't. But then again, I don't like a lot of the politicians. But here's the deal. The Chinese lie probably more than Donald Trump. The Chinese, they are some lying motherfuckers. They're just like, you ain't got, you know, you don't even have the right to even ask us no questions. We don't owe you the truth. We don't owe you shit. So they will lie their asses off. So this idea that they've contained the virus is absolute bull. They haven't contained shit. They're probably out here, you know, executing people in secret, you know, like real, or they got some big gigantic Guantanamo facility where they put, you know, 10,000 people with the virus. And actually, if you look at Chinese history, you know, just to talk about, you know, their propensity to lie and to constrain information and how it hurts people. I think it was the 1950s. Where I think it was back when Chairman Mao was in power, and Mao, they kind of worship him almost like a god. You know, it's real interesting. You know, when you go there, you see that. But back then there was a situation where you know, the government, the central government made all the food for all the people, right? And that was kind of their process. So what would happen is the farmers would report numbers to the heads of the villages. The heads of the villages would report numbers to, you know, their higher ups, and the higher ups report to their higher ups, right? So they would have an estimate of how much food they have and whether or not they have enough food to feed all the people, right? Well, for some reason, everybody's numbers were inflated, like they were just lying, right? Just writing down, the number 12 just because, right? And so they had a misestimate of how much food was available for the population. And as a result, I think like 10 million people starved to death because everybody was just in there lying. Everybody was just making shit up, right? So I don't believe a word that comes out of that government's mouth. And I don't believe our government either, right? I mean, Trump's a liar, that's proven. But you got to understand, propaganda is real. So, even your buddy Barack Obama was up in there lying, like that's what they do. So I think at the end of the day, and Faye, I'd like you to get the last word on this, but, when I'm looking at all of this, when I'm thinking about, okay, how do I respond? How do I protect my family? I internalize all information. Like I'm getting all kinds of stuff. I'm getting emails from people telling me that next week, I got a friend in the military who said next week they're going to shut down all the grocery stores and that the virus is worse than what it is. I mean, I've been hearing these sorts of things. Yeah, I've been hearing some pretty heavy stuff to the point where I told Alicia, I said, okay, let's just chill out and stay at home. Let's go ahead and stock up on food and be ready for anything. Because if the shit really hits the fan, make no mistake about it, this government ain't going to be in a position to protect you. They're not. They ain't ready. What do you think, Faye?
I agree. I believe the poor is going to get hit hardest because a lot of these people don't have the resources or the means to cover themselves, longer than 30 days. A lot of people live check to check. A lot of people live hand to mouth. And the government does not have the protections in place to really help you get through it. Which is why, again, going back to that toilet paper thing, I'm wondering why are we more concerned with going to go get toilet paper than we are stocking up on food, going to the doctors, just scheduling an appointment to get tested ourselves, to make sure our families are healthy, making sure that we're drinking water, clear fluids, and eating fruits and veggies to get healthy. I personally think in terms of the reporting with China, initially they had Wuhan as the ground zero for the virus, but I'm hearing that Hubei, Hubei, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, actually ended up having more cases than Wuhan. And now we're hearing China has calmed down, but Italy has spiked, yet there are no cases in Russia. North or South Korea really isn't reporting anything. So it kind of goes back to that spin. What's really, really going on? And why aren't we really getting any real information? Just kind of splattered information that's kind of pointing us in all these different directions, but not really giving us any real perspective.
Yeah, but they can't even test everybody. So when you
they can't.
Right. So I bet a lot of people are saying we don't have any cases because they ain't testing nobody. It's almost like when Mahmoud Ahmadinejad from Iran came and he said there are no gay people in Iran. Like
I remember that.
And I was like, how do you know that? Like, did you go try to sleep with every dude in Iran? Like that to me was like, like when people make statements like that, like, oh, it doesn't exist, it's not real. That tells me you're in denial. Like yeah. Trump is basically, Trump is saying, oh, well, the cases are going down, everyone's being tested, everything's fine. Asshole, you ain't even got enough test kits to test everybody. So I don't believe a word you're saying. Like you're not proving anything. You're just saying.
None of them are.
Right.
None of them are proving anything, which is why I'm kind of trying to push, particularly the people I talk to in my family, my friends, and my own colleagues. Talk to your doctor. Don't look to CNN or MSNBC to give you the information you need on how to take care of yourself and your family, because they can only provide you with whatever it is that they're getting. And God knows who they're getting their information from. Their goal is to sensationalize the story that's going to get them the most clicks, the most likes, the most whatever to push, their network. Europe has now become the epicenter of the pandemic. I don't know how that happened within 7 days' time, but apparently there's more cases being reported there and deaths than the rest of the world combined, including China. Which, again, how did that happen? Because the initial numbers that were being reported in China says otherwise. So are more people now dying in Europe? than there were in China and the US. I know the US is now up to 51, maybe 52 deaths. I know in my state, there's only 4 cases that have been reported, yet the governor shut the whole state down. And another interesting fact, notice the gyms aren't closed. None of the gyms are closing. And they're some of the nastiest places. Some of the most filthiest places on earth aren't closing, like amusement parks or certain parks and stuff. They're still remaining open. So again, it's kind of like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. What's going on? Because we really still can't identify. We don't have nothing to point at.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, it's interesting. It's fascinating. And I don't know what to say. I just know I'm going to kick it at home. And you know, and it's a good time to just recenter yourself and, you know,
learn a new skill, read a book. I mean, for those that are, I was actually going to make a video about this later, for those who may experience like a financial setback from this, you can actually work from home and you can train and be up making a few dollars in about a few weeks. I know that with Amazon, I do e-commerce. So with eBay and Amazon, because trading, there's a ban on it, there's not much moving there in terms of the e-commerce thing. But there are things you can do from home to make money, because a lot of companies that are shutting down, a lot of the corporations that have stopped, the arenas that are closing, the places that are canceling events, and the staff that works there, they don't stand to make money in the next few weeks. How are they going to feed their families?
That's real. That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk to some people, and I'm going to see if we can put some stuff together on forming a home-based business. You know, I hate the fact that that people are going through that, and so I'll come back to you guys with some thoughts on that very, very soon. So thank you very much, Faye, for your time.
Absolutely.
It has been awesome talking to you. It's always awesome talking to Faye. Faye is on Instagram. And can people find you, a Faye Bishop on Instagram? Is that what it is? Or
yes, it's at Faye Bishop, at FAYEBISHOP on Instagram. On Twitter, it's MS Faye Bishop. And on Facebook, it's just Faye Bishop. You can look it up, put me in your search button and come up. I'm pretty much the only Black Faye Bishop. If you Google Faye Bishop, I come up, because I've been I've been a writer for years, you know, but I'm the only Black one, which makes me feel good, because my name is actually Tina Faye, but SNL and all that, and I can't have that. So you guys stick me in the search bar, I promise I'll come up.
All right.
I'm the only Black one.
So everybody go follow Faye Bishop on Instagram. And I want to say thank you. I saw Rob Mack and Zana451. Thank you for donating to the platform. I appreciate that. Anybody else who'd like to support Black media, feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. And Zana's comment is, if you are worried about the coronavirus, remember that your body has its own healing process. Contact me for details of Violet Flame Healing. So Zana451, ZHANA, says contact her for details for Violet Flame Healing. I don't know what that is, but it sounds interesting. And they
and get plenty of sunlight and drink water. Again, you know, sunlight cures a lot. I think a lot of people don't give credit to what sunlight and fresh air can do.
Yeah. Well,
just don't touch anything.
and plenty of sleep too. You know, I'm a big believer in sleeping. I found that, you know, when it comes to health, from what I've read, it's a lot of the basic stuff. You know, are you drinking a lot of water? Are you getting sunlight? Are you sleeping well? Minimizing stress, getting those negative people out of your life. You know, and even something, you know, not being too gross on it, but even how you go to the bathroom, if you know what I mean. I'm not gonna go into that, but you know, like that stuff, like you're getting the toxins out of your body, like, you know, and that's what I remember reading, that when a guy, there was a guy who studied thousands of cancer patients around the world, and he said those are the common factors, like those, you know, 4 or 5 little basic things are huge in keeping your body healthy. So don't let the corporate plantation drive you crazy and have you missing sleep and ruining your mental health, because that will translate into your physical. That is absolutely true. And so last but not least, I want to remind everybody that Monday night at midnight, we're going to have our digital slumber party. Faye, I hope that you'll come to the slumber party. I'd like to.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
So everybody take a nap so we can wake up at midnight on Monday night. And I want to do this because I think it reminds me of when we were little and you didn't have to go to school the next day and you could stay up. And so we're going to stay up and just, I don't even know what exactly we're going to do, but I'll do a little lecture. I'll give you some smart stuff, but also I think we should just have fun and talk and kind of just be together because everybody's isolated, everybody's separated.
Yes.
And I want us to be together and I want us to be quarantined. Again, we're blocking out the world. We're blocking out the racism, the coonery, all the other stuff, and just come together as intelligent Black people. So if you'd like to join us, just register at digitalslumberparty.com. That's digitalslumberparty.com. Last but not least, those of you who are looking to navigate the stock market during all this chaos, feel free to go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. You can do a $1 trial for 30 days. That's theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And at the bottom, very bottom, there's a section on what Dr. Boyce is buying where I tell you exactly which stocks I'm picking and why and everything else. So feel free to check that out, theblackstockmarketprogram.com. That's something we have in the Black Business School. So thank you very much, Faye. I appreciate your time. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes. And I'll see you guys soon. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Yes, take care.